Breaking news this noon, a school shooting in Connecticut. We'll have the latest.
Plus, police now say that they know who the shooters are in this disturbing video of an attack on a SEPTA L train. We're live with the story. Katie.
And Pat, what a difference a week will be making for us here in the Delaware Valley. We've come off of a really nice, very tranquil week, but next week, a couple of storm systems will be on the map. We'll break down all the details for you, and it's all coming up.
This is Philly's most watched station, CBS 3 HD.
Breaking at this hour from Connecticut, authorities there are confirming that the gunman in an elementary school shooting is dead. Reports are saying the incident happened just before 10 in Newton, which is 45 minutes southwest of Hartford. 3 people are injured, including 2 students and a teacher who was shot in the foot. There is no word if the injuries, though, are life-threatening. Dozens of local, state, and national authorities are now on the scene there. Area schools remain locked down for the safety of the staff and the students.
Also breaking this noon, an intense manhunt is on right now for 2 brothers accused of a Wednesday night shooting on a SEPTA L train. The victims told police guns were drawn during an argument over the Sixers-Bulls game. Hello, everyone. I'm Yuki Washington.
And I'm Pat Shiraki. Philadelphia police are saying that they know who the 2 suspects are. Eyewitness News reporter Jerika Duncan is live for us at Southwest Detectives with the latest on the investigation. Jerika, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Pat and Yuki. The very latest, police went by the home of the suspects. They tell me the 2 suspects are not there. So at this point,
$10,000 in discounts and rebates.
Morning, there has been a deadly shooting at an elementary school in Newtown, Connecticut. That's about 24 miles northwest of New Haven. A law enforcement official has told CBS News Justice correspondent Bob Orr that 1 child has been killed and 1 gunman is dead as well. We do not know the gunman's identity or motive or if he acted alone. 3 people were taken to the hospital, and the Associated Press is quoting an ambulance dispatcher as saying one of them is a teacher who was shot in the foot. This all began just after 9:30 Eastern Time this morning at the Sandy Hook Elementary School in Newtown, Connecticut. The school has kindergarten through 4th grade students, and the children are ages 5 through 10. This photograph that you're looking at, taken by the Newtown Bee newspaper, shows students at the school being led through the parking lot by adults as they are being taken out of the school. Also, schools in the Newtown area are all in lockdown. And we turn now to John Miller, CBS News special correspondent. John, what can you tell us?
Well, this information is all preliminary, and it's likely to change because the incident is also very much ongoing. You've got Connecticut State Police in the lead with the Connecticut State Police SWAT team in the school. They're doing a couple of things. They're, one, securing the areas where they've been, but they're also doing a wider search. This is quite a large school with 600 students. They're also doing a perimeter search around the area of the school. So that is to find out, are there students who are still hiding in closets or other places that need to be brought out? That's also to determine, for the sake of the process of elimination, that there isn't a second or additional gunman. What we are told from law enforcement sources in the area is that this apparently starts with the father of a student. And again, this information is preliminary. The father of a student who comes to the school, there is some kind of confrontation with him, with the principal, possibly in the principal's office, where the student's father pulls out a weapon and begins shooting. And we have heard varying numbers on potential casualties, so we're going to stay away from that for now, except to say that we do have confirmed reports from our sources up there that the gunman is dead. That brokers the question, did he take his own life, as we've seen in another active shooter incident earlier this week, or was there a confrontation with police or others? That part's still not clear.
This is your background. Your background is in intelligence. This is a rural area. The school is located in a rural section of town. What are the protocols at this point, and does that make it easier or more difficult for law enforcement?
Well, the protocols are all new. I mean, you have kind of the pre-Columbine school model, which is to surround the school, get a tight perimeter, wait for SWAT to go in and engage the gunman. But since the Beslan school incident, which occurred several years ago in Chechnya, where students were massacred, the Connecticut State Police in all the small towns redid their protocols from a a contain and wait for SWAT model to an immediate action, rapid deployment model. That means that the first officers on the scene form small groups of 3 or 4 officers, maybe one with a long weapon, the others with handguns, another as the communicator with the radio. And that small group goes in right then and there to engage the gunman. The next team that shows up, when they have 3 or 4, they do the same thing. And they'll come at this from a number of directions communicating. So we saw some of that today. And what you've seen is the deployment of the state police SWAT team, now that they believe the gunman is dead, to do that entire search of the building. And they've deployed a second state police SWAT team, as well as their major crimes bureau, to deal with the crime scene and the evidence.
Clearly still a fluid situation. John Miller, CBS News. Thank you, John.
Thanks.
And as we've been reporting, at least 1 child dead in this deadly, fatal shooting. The gunman, or at least 1 gunman, also perished at the scene. We will be following this story throughout the day. There's expected to be a conference around 1 o'clock Eastern time with an update from local law enforcement. And we'll be back on the air with any major developments, and we'll have a full report tonight on the CBS Evening News with Scott Pelley. I'm Rebecca Jarvis, CBS News, New York.
For news 24 hours a day, go to cbsnews.com.
And we'll be continuing to follow the story also here on CBS Philly and cbsphilly.com.
Now, as Talk Philly continues, we are at the height of the gift-giving season, but have you considered the gift of your time?
In Philadelphia, the Gift of Life Family House is a home away from home for organ transplant patients. And this season, it is alive with the laughter of volunteers who are sharing their love. Give Desi an audience and a superstar.
Try to bring in a few more clouds. We will still stay rain-free. Sunday and Monday look to be primarily rainmakers, but up through the Poconos Sunday night, you might even pick up on a little bit of light snow starting to pick up for that area. Heading into Tuesday and then leading into Wednesday, we are going to see the threat for rain or snow picking up across our area. 50, though, still the high. So again, a lot has yet to evolve across our area. We will certainly keep you posted as more information comes in. Guys, back over to you.
You know, we call them hoagies, but some heat up their hoagies and call them subs. Here to tell us why Firehouse Subs are unique is local franchise owner Bob Lowe, and he brought along Brooks Schramm to help him out. Hey, gang. Nice to see you. Doing well. Oh, you got the little gloves on there. We got to go like that. All right.
Absolutely, sir.
Now, this restaurant chain started by firefighters, right?
Right.
Give us a little history. This is wonderful.
We were founded by two brothers who are firefighters down in Jacksonville, Florida, and Robin and Chris Sorensen. And they started off just as a mom and pop shop, and wasn't sure what they wanted to do with it. And over 17, 18 years now, they've created a franchise that is in 33 states.
Beautiful.
1 country.
Beautiful.
We have 566 restaurants.
And we are following the latest on this breaking news of the elementary school shooting in Connecticut that has made for a very chaotic day. CBS is reporting 1 gunman is dead, as well as a student. 1 teacher is wounded with an injury to the foot, along with 2 other students. They were all taken to an area hospital. CBS News has a special report, and let's go to that in just a minute.
News special report. I'm Rebecca Jarvis with more about the deadly shooting at an elementary school in Newtown, Connecticut. It happened about 3 hours ago, just after 9:30 Eastern time in the morning. And CBS News Justice correspondent Bob Orr has more details, the latest. Bob, what can you tell us?
Rebecca, I'm afraid this is very, very grim. We've been talking to a number of federal officials, and I want to be extremely careful how we characterize this. But I can now tell you, according to a number of law enforcement officials, that there are multiple people dead at the shooting scene, including several children. When I asked them if it's more than 1 child, they said, yes, it's several. When I asked them to give me an exact number, they're very hesitant to do that. There's a very high-level conference call going on right now across all the law enforcement agencies in Washington who are in support of the federal and state officials in Connecticut. But I have been warned to expect this to be very, very bad. The scene is described as just absolutely atrocious. Part of the problem is that the first responders are still working there. The law enforcement on scene haven't really gone through the entire building yet. But at the end of the day, as more details come out, I'm pretty much being told to expect the worst. So again, the headline here is that a number of people have been killed. A number of children have been killed. We cannot be more precise than that. We do know that a gunman is dead at the scene. 2 handguns were recovered. We don't know what kinds of weapons were used, but we do know that a large number of shots were fired. I have to tell you that I talk to these federal officials every day, and this has kind of shaken them at their core. These are people used to dealing with very difficult and very grim scenes who are telling me that this is extremely bad, and people should be prepared for the news to get worse. Rebecca, I'm sorry to say that's what we have to tell you.
Bob Orr, thank you. And we turn now to John Miller, who joins us in studio. CBS News' John Miller. John, what are you hearing?
I've been talking to people at the scene who have been working the scene, and I want to reflect what Bob said, because we have to be extremely cautious in these things. We saw, for instance, in the Columbine shooting that a large number of dead was given out, and then, of course, the number went down. That's a good thing. So we know these numbers may change, but talking to the people at the command post, the kind of figures they're working with now, and these numbers could change, they could go up or down, is they're talking about a couple of dozen people who may have been severely wounded or killed, and that a dozen of them may be students. Now, I want to underline again, the information is preliminary. It could change. Hopefully, it will change for the better. But at the command post, where they're working to try and develop those numbers, this is the ballpark we're talking about, and that is extraordinarily disturbing if, in fact, these become the confirmed numbers.
Horrifying details emerging at this point. John Miller, thank you. And there will be a press briefing in Newtown, Connecticut at about 1 o'clock today. That's Eastern time. It's about a half an hour from now, and we will be back on the air with that. I'm Rebecca Jarvis, CBS News, New York.
For news 24 hours a day, go to cbsnews.com.
Those images over and over again, especially if their parents aren't around to help interpret them.
And what about the long run?
Scott, communication is the most important thing. People talk about talking to your children. The most important thing is to listen to them, and nobody's going to know your kids better than you. Look out for those special little signs. Is there a personality change? Is there anxiety? Is there a problem sleeping? If you notice any of these things, you may need to have some professional help.
John, thanks very much. A program note for you now. CBS News will bring you a special broadcast with the very latest on the shooting here in Connecticut. That will be tonight at 10, 9 Central. Some CBS stations will be leaving now for local programming, but for many of you, the CBS Evening News will continue in just a moment.
There's 20 parents that were just told that their children are dead. It was awful.
Excuse me, folks, I gotta get out.
I saw some of the bullets going past the hall. Then a teacher pulled me into her classroom.
I just heard the principal was shot and killed. I heard some kids were shot.
Good evening again, and for those of you just joining us, this is a special expanded edition, part of CBS coverage of the school shooting here in Newtown.